Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the Thomson's atom model. So, J.J. Thomson is a scientist that he proposed the famous atom model in the year of 1904. Who proposed the Thomson atom model means he is a J.J. Thomson. So that only for this model he named his name itself. So just after discovery of the electrons. So Thomson proposed that the shape of an atom that is resembles a sphere having a radius of order of 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Then the positively charged particles that it will be uniformly that particles will be uniformly distributing with the electrons that is arranged in a atom that is electrically neutral. How that electrons will be arranged in a manner that then the atom that is electrically neutral. So the atom model is otherwise known as plum pudding model, otherwise watermelon model. So the embedded electrons that is resembled to the seed of watermelon. He used the seed is considered as a negative, and the fleshy part will be there in the watermelon. If you cut the watermelon into two, in that they will be having a seed in the fleshy part. So that seed is a negative and the fleshy part is a positive. So he considered like this. So the watermelon is the red mass is represented as a positive charge distribution. So the plum pudding atomic theory that assumed that the mass of an atom is uniformly distributed through over the atom. So this is about the Thomson's atom model. So there are two limitations for the Thomson atom model. What are the limitations means? Thomson failed to explain how the positive charged sphere is shielded from the negatively charged electrons, that is without getting neutralized. How we can the Thomson model, how he failed means without getting neutral he have to prove it, but he failed to prove that. So this theory that is explaining about only the protons and the electrons, and he failed to explain the presence of neutral particle neutron. So this is about the limitations of Thomson's atom model. Next we can see the valency. So the valency of electrons, clearly we learned in a little about the Rutherford atomic model. In the Rutherford atomic model we learned about the valency. So according to the Rutherford, an atom that is consists of a subatomic particles, that is a proton, neutron, electron and neutrons. A proton and the neutron that is found at the center of the atom. Proton and the electron, where it will be found means that is found in the center of the atom. So the center of the atom that is called as a nucleus. So the electrons that is revolving around the nucleus in a circular path. So the electrons that is revolving around the nucleus in a circular path is called the orbits, otherwise we can say as a shells. So an atom has a number of orbits, and each orbit has an atom that will be having a number of orbit. So on the each orbit that is called as each orbit will be having a electrons. So the electrons that is revolving in the outermost orbit. So the electrons that is revolving on the outermost orbit, that is called as a valence electrons. The outermost orbit is called as a valence electrons. So what is electronic configuration means? The arrangement of electrons in the orbits is known as the electronic configuration. So the atoms in the elements will tend to have this is an arrangement of the electrons in an atom. So nucleus and the valence electrons. So the atoms of all the elements that will tend to have a stable electronic configuration. So that is they will be tended to have either 2 electrons, that is known as a duplet. If 8 electrons means that is a octet. So in the outermost orbit, for example, helium is having 2 electrons, that is in the outermost orbit, and that is chemically inert. So neon is chemically inert because it has the 8 electrons in the outermost orbit. So the valence electron in the atom that is readily participate in the chemical reaction, and the chemical properties of the element that is determined by the electrons. So when the molecules are formed, atoms that is combining together in a fixed proportion, because that each atom they will be having a different combining capacity. So the combining capacity of an atom, the combining capacity of the atom is called as valency. So the valency is defined as the number of electrons either lost or gained. The valency is defined as the number of electrons lost, gained or shared by the atom in a chemical combination. This is called as valency, so that it becomes a chemically inert. So this is about the valency. Thank you, students.